I'm Jack.
I'm Jackie.
And Mama.
And we're the Mindful Homestead. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the homestead. Or maybe, depending on when you got here, welcome to the homestead. There's a lot of new viewers on the channel that we picked up from our Homesteaders of America recap video. We're happy you're all here. And we figured that on today's video, we would just give you guys a little bit of a tour of the farm and show you what we're doing here and what we're all about here at the Mindful Homestead.
So it all began with us buying this piece of property in 2016. We're on about 10 acres of land. We knew that we wanted to have a little bit more understanding of where our food was coming from and have more of a hand in that. So the first animals we got were chickens. Then we got 3 pigs. Then we got 5 ducks. And this year we added 6 turkeys. I had no clue that this is where Jack's plan was going when we bought this property. I can't imagine us doing anything else than we are now. But if you asked me years ago, I would have never thought that we would have all these animals and be able to feed our daughter pretty much most things from what we grow or raise. We start the farm tour today in our chicken and duck area. We have a large area that we have in electric fencing for the birds to roam around as they please, in and out of their coop, in and out of the duck house back here. We have a mix of commercial layers as well as heritage breeds, so that way we have a good mixture of very pretty eggs and also high yield chickens, so then that way we're getting eggs almost all year round. We do not know how many birds we have, but we do know we have 4 ducks.
And then how did we get the ducks?
So the ducks are a fun story. Our 2 khaki Campbell ducks came from Goldshaw Farm up in Vermont, and we got hatching eggs from Morgan, and we had a dozen? I think we had about a dozen of them that we tried to hatch, and we only had 2 that hatched, and actually one of them Jack had to save, and they were both successful, and they're still with us now. I think they're 2 years old now. Then after we hatched those, we wanted to get them some more friends, so we ended up getting Jake, our Drake. He's a Welsh Harlequin. And then Jack went to go help some buddies process some pecans, and there were 2 of them that they really didn't want, and Jack decided, what the heck, I'm gonna bring 2 more home. Unfortunately, last winter we did end up losing one of our pecans, but we still have our one, and she's quite the character. So right across the way from our chicken and duck area, we have our raised bed garden that Jack built for us. We try to grow as much of our own vegetables each year. Of course, here in New Hampshire, that's a short window of time because of our winters. However, we do pretty well. String beans, tomatoes, cucumbers, we've got a strawberry patch. Jack likes to do garlic. And then we do all your normal greens, kales, Swiss chards, zucchinis, summer squash. You get the idea. Each year, Jack and I, when we are planning the garden, we like to challenge each other to find something new to grow and see if we can be successful. So this year was a horrible growing year overall because we had a lot of rain here in New Hampshire, but we did have some successful new things. So one of the things that we tried was these eggplants that are actually still putting on a whole ton of growth here. And we even have a little flower. So we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tried to grow them in a container, and we tri These were really fun. The variety of these were a Japanese eggplant, and they were smaller and thinner than your normal eggplant. So we would often just chop them up and saute them. They really turned out great. We got a good yield from them.
They almost look like a mini zucchini
Yeah. That was a Jack challenge. He came home with those. Then we did potatoes, which was also a Jack idea as well. He came home with a open bag of potatoes that started to have all the eyes coming out, and they sat on a bench by our back door for months, probably most of the summer, until Jack actually put a post out to all of you. If you thought that we could still plant them, we did, and we were incredibly successful, and we had our first dinner with some of those potatoes the other night, and they were delicious. Those were really fun. Jack and Emma harvested them, and Jack had said they're definitely a really kid-friendly thing to plant because Emma had a blast digging them up. So one of my favorite things in the garden that Jack has done for me is our cattle panel trellis. It's really fun to grow lots of it's really fun to grow lots of different trellising vegetables. This year we did string beans, which were amazing. I mean, here it is almost the end of October in New Hampshire, and this thing is still full with beans. We haven't picked in a while, so they are way overgrown, but we're hoping to grab some of the seeds from them and do them again next year because these were very successful. We also do cucumbers on here as well. So anything that is willing to climb, this is a fun way to do it.
Jackie's also got a bunch of flower gardens back here that she plants. We do a lot of work in the garden for food, but we also do a lot of ornamental planting around the property just because it keeps things looking pretty, and it's nice to have a nice looking house, not just a house that's making a lot of food for you. All right, let's take a walk out front and see the pigs. So like Jackie mentioned, we got 3 pigs one year, and the following year we got 6 pigs, and this year we have 9 pigs. Jackie, what do you think about me successfully making the conversion from chicken math to pig math?
I don't even have words. I really don't.
So we started raising pigs because it was the easiest way for us to grow a large quantity of meat in a relatively short amount of time. You're talking, 300 pounds of meat with 2 pigs over the span of 5 months. We started with Yorkshire landrace crosses, which are kind of your standard, your pink pig that you see in a lot of other operations. And we were happy with that. But this year we moved over to a Berkshire Duroc cross. For the most part, we still have 2 Yorkshires in here that we got from a friend later on. But all of our pigs are Berkshire Duroc crosses that we get from the same breeder. They're local. They're only 10 minutes from our house. And I really like what he's got going for his pigs and how his breeding sows and boars are treated, which is why we get our pigs from him. Because in case you haven't noticed, we raise our pigs a little bit differently than a lot of other places. And part of it has to do with the land that we have available. We have a lot of forest. But the other part of it has to do with how we feel animals should be treated when they're being raised. You see pigs raised in their natural environment, they're going to be in the woods. You don't typically see pigs in fields and things like that. They're going to be in the woods, they're going to be in the forest, because that's where they can root around and forage and find all sorts of goodies laying on the forest floor. Here in New England, especially on our property, we have an abundance of forest. It's not like we bought our property really expecting to do all this. We have a ton of woods here, and what we can raise when you're talking, sheep, goats, pigs, cows, as far as large mammals, pigs are really kind of the go-to for us. So when we really looked hard at what we could grow, pigs were the obvious choice for us. We grow 2 pigs for us per year, and we sell the rest as whole and half shares to both friends, family, and other people that have talked to us over the years. This year, we've got our pigs going as far as Brooklyn, New York, Vermont, Maine. Our pigs really go all over the New England area. And we appreciate that people are starting to get into a vibe where they're looking for more locally sourced, ethically treated meats. Another benefit to raising pigs the way we do is that it is a fairly profitable endeavor for us as a small farm. See, Jackie and I both work full-time jobs still. So I work in retail.
And I am a psychotherapist.
with her own practice. So between her owning her own business and me working 40 hours a week, it's important that anything we do on our farm that is for us can be done easily. But if it can also turn a little bit of a profit and make it self-sustaining, that's even more important.
What we learned with raising the pigs is that no matter if we were raising 3, 6, or 10 pigs, it was the same amount of effort for us every morning before going to work.
So for us, if we have the area to run 10 pigs instead of 3, and we have the ability to move those 10 pigs to people that also appreciate locally raised quality meat, that's a great opportunity for us as a small farm. Thank you. And that's something I like to talk about on the channel a lot, is maximizing the income for your efforts on a small farm or homestead. Because a lot of you with a small farm, like us, you don't have all day to be hanging out with your animals and doing farm chores. Which kind of leads us to the newest addition to the farm this year, which is our turkeys. Behind me you can see and hear the newest addition to our farm this year. So this year we heard from some of our chicken customers that they wanted turkeys for Thanksgiving, but they didn't want just standard turkeys, they wanted big turkeys. Turkeys that are a little bit harder to find in the store. You know, you don't see many farmers raising them. So we took on these 6 turkeys all the way back in April, which is a super long grow out for broad-breasted white turkeys. But we've been applying the same principles to these guys that we do to our Cornish cross chickens, which keeps them active and moving and really just healthier overall than a lot of your meat bred specific breeds out there. You posing? And what we found using those principles is that even at 6 months old right now, they'll be 7 months old when we process them, that these birds are relatively healthy. They're still getting around, they're still moving. We did have an incident with the tom, who you can see way up there behind me. He got his foot caught in the fence a couple weeks ago, so that's bothering him a little bit. He's still getting around, he's still moving, but aside from that, barring that injury, which was unrelated to the grow out phase of these birds, we've still got birds that are doing really well and are going to be delicious for the dinner table. As a fun aside, and since we're doing the farm tour, we've got fruit trees and bushes kind of smattered all over the property. This is one peach tree that we've got going right here. We planted this about 4 years ago. We've got another peach tree right here that's been planted for 3 years that we've been dealing with it. I've actually got to go through and cut out the deer guard that we've got on this one because it's starting to grow into it. We've got some blueberry and Nanking cherry bushes lined up over here behind me. You know, we're really trying to make an effort to utilize the land as best we can, whether it's as pasture for animals that really thrive on this type of area, or if it's planting native and local species that do well in our climate that can also provide us food and look pretty good as well. One crop that we have a ton of, as you can see, is wood. It is all around us. As Jackie mentioned, we've got just over 10 acres. A lot of the wood that you see behind me on the front half of the property, it's a mix of oak, maple, and beech. And on the back half of the property, you can see behind the house there, you can actually see the 3 huge pine trees that we've got growing right there. That's a lot of hemlock and white pine. Really, really great trees back there for lumber. We are going to be looking in the next few years to clear out a bunch of that timber. We're going to harvest some of it to use for ourselves. We're going to mill it up on a sawmill, but we're also in an area where, luckily for us, we're able to sell timber to local sawmills and actually take money out of that. So it's a cash crop, which is kind of nice. So that's what we got going here at the Mindful Homestead. We're really happy that all of you new subscribers have decided to join us on this journey.
If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you head down below and hit that subscribe button.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.